Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dreamleapers Inspiration. I'm your host, Harriet Cole. Very, very pleased and honored to be with you today. I hope that you are doing very well. I was just looking at the open for this show, and it talks about taking the time to pause, to really connect to your greatness. That's why we do this. We carve out time to be with other people who are making that same choice, to connect to their greatness, to be in alignment with the goodness within your own self. Because when you do that, you can also be in alignment with the goodness in others. But it takes a conscious effort to do that, to make that choice, to pause, to make an assessment of how you feel, how are you doing, what's going on in your heart, in your mind, in your life? How are you feeling as it relates to whatever's going on? And sometimes we are just moving so fast that we don't take the time to pause and to assess, where am I? Am I doing what I want to be doing? Am I doing what I should be doing for myself? Have I been paying attention to the things that really matter or not? And I think this is something important for all of us to consider, because we go so fast. Sometimes I'm guilty of this. Sometimes my day continues in my dreams and I'm working out challenges and problems and trying to solve things when I'm supposed to be asleep. And then I wake up in the morning and I'm continuing chugging along, thinking about whatever that is. So on the one hand, continuing to think about something, chugging along, all of that, on the one hand, that's good because that means you're continuing to work on it. But the pause is important too. Pause. Assess, where am I? Where am I in the things that I value? Where am I in the things that I've told myself I'm going to do? Things are some of the most challenging things for us to do. And that's why today I wanted us to explore something that I'm going to bet most of us talk about and think that we are good at, but I'm not quite sure if we actually are. And that is being persistent. Ask yourself, do you feel like you are a persistent person? Do you feel like if you have something on your list that you actually work at it, go for it every day, work on it until you complete it? Are you that person? Do you think, wow, look, everybody's always told me I'm really smart. I'm a smart person. I can get things done fast. So I can wait until last minute to work on this thing because I'm smart. I can figure it out. Are you that person? I am sure you think you're smart. And guess what? You probably are. But are you smart enough to apply persistence to whatever it is that you have on your list? There's so many examples that I have of people in my life who do one or the other, who actually are persistent and great things happen in their lives, and some who claim that, "Oh, I got this," but the persistence isn't there. And what happens? It doesn't get done. So Probably one of you knows this quote from the Bible. I don't know it, but there is a quote in the Bible that talks about cultivating your talents. And whatever your talents are, if you nurture them and grow them and pay attention to those talents, then even if you only have one, even if there's only one, if you do that, then great things happen. I have a friend who probably would say, in fact, I know he says he is incredibly blessed. He has so many opportunities that have come to him, and he's very challenged. Things don't come easy to him, even though blessings come to him. And so he has to work super hard in order to be able to be good at whatever it is that he puts his mind to. But guess what? He's persistent. And when you are persistent, that's when you win. And so this person who literally everything comes hard to him, I see him check off boxes, huge goals that he has set for himself. And over the years, he has accomplished these goals. And I have seen people who are considered the smartest people in the room who have goals and aren't working on them the way that they should. And those goals are still sitting on the shelf gathering dust because they aren't working on them. It's an interesting thing, persistence. If you go for it consistently, day after day after day, whatever it is, you get it done. And if you don't, it sits on the shelf gathering dust. And it's really your choice as to how you're going to spend your time as to whether it's going to work. So let's look at the quote today. I have a meaty quote today that I think is important for us to just take a look at. It says, "Nothing in this world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. The slogan, 'Press on,' has solved and always will solve the problems of the human race." That's from President Calvin Coolidge. I thought this was so good. Now it's got a lot in there. So let's go through. I'm going to go through it sentence by sentence. Nothing in this world can take the place of persistence. If you think about your own life, what have you persisted at and what have you not? What have you given your all and what have you not? And what has happened as a result of it? So Calvin Coolidge says talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. I'm telling you, I got one person, I'm obviously not going to name names here, a woman I know who was thought of as like a child prodigy. When she was little, everybody talked about how smart she was. She could do anything with her life that she wanted. She was brilliant. That's how people talked about her, that she was just brilliant. And what did she do with her brilliance? Absolutely nothing. She hasn't figured out, she didn't finish school. She didn't finish a trade school. She didn't finish college. She didn't develop a career for herself. She didn't develop a solid way of earning a living. She just sort of has floundered. But she was considered the smartest person. So talent is not better than persistence. Calvin Coolidge says nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. That seems so sad, such a waste. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Huh? Then education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. So education is great. Genius is great. Talent is great. But you have to apply them. Persistence is like application. You have to apply them. So Calvin Coolidge says, persistence and determination alone are omnipotent, are everything. Persistence and determination. He says the slogan press on has solved and always will solve the problems of the human race. Think about that. And think about yourself. When have you been persistent? Take a moment right now and think about something in your life that's important that you have worked very hard on. What might that be? I was talking to my sister Susan yesterday, and she was telling me about her dear friend who is an event planner. And when she puts her mind to it and puts her everything into these events, they are spectacular. Why? Because no stone is left unturned. She's got her list. Even beyond the list of whatever she thinks is important, she's making a bigger list to ensure that every angle she has thought of, every possible angle surrounding the event, she has considered professionally, creatively, logistically, and marked it down, mapped it out, and worked on it until it was completed. And this is why people love working with her, because she is excellent at follow through. See, persistence is also like follow through. It's what are you doing to ensure that you reach the goal, whatever the goal is that you set for yourself? Persistence and determination and follow through. They all work together. And so as my sister was talking about this, she was describing the best person that you would want to hire to produce an event for you is someone who knows you and who will never, ever give up until the project is completed. So how does that relate to you in whatever you need to be persistent about? What are you so consistent and dogged about that you are going to work on it till the end, no matter what? Can you think of one thing in your life that you've been that persistent about, that you did not stop until it was done, and how you felt afterward because you completed it and you were able to say, yes, I did this thing? It gives you energy when you complete things that you promised yourself and others that you were going to complete. So let's look at Calvin Coolidge's quote. It's so meaty. He says, nothing in this world can take the place of persistence. Nothing. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Think about that. Unsuccessful men with talent are miserable. They didn't get to a point of success, and they have all the talent in the world. And they're sitting there going, what did I do wrong? How did I mess up? And by the way, Calvin Coolidge, this is back many generations ago. When he says men, he's meaning people. Genius will not, he says. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Like, it's almost biblical how often genius is unrewarded. Genius isn't enough. That incredible inspiration, that ability to break through with your mind and have these aha moments and awareness, and you figure stuff out. But if you don't apply it, then what? Nothing. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. When I read that, I was like, ooh, that's harsh. The world is full of educated derelicts? Think about, my daughter's in college right now. It is a tremendous sacrifice to put a person through college, your child, yourself, whoever it might be. And when you think about all the money and time and energy and effort that goes into it, and you come out and do nothing with it, that should be against the law. Calvin Coolidge says the world is full of educated derelicts, of people who are not applying whatever it is they learned to a positive end. Now, let me make sure that you understand I'm not trying to beat anybody up here. You may go to school for one thing and end up doing something completely different. You may go to school to learn about a particular path and say, that's not for me. There's nothing wrong with that. We can change our minds. I am not suggesting, and I don't think Calvin Coolidge is either, that you can't change your mind. More it is, you have to do something. Don't be the person who's doing nothing. Be the person who's taking action, who's doing something, who's pressing on, as Calvin Coolidge says. He says, persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. Persistence and education and determination alone are omnipotent. Persistence, every day you continue to work at it. Determination, no matter how tough it seems. So I often talk about my friend Sekou. He's a runner. Even after having suffered 2 strokes, he's still running every day. He may not be running as fast as he was before, but he is determined that he will run every single day, and he does. And he can check it off his list and be proud of himself. I did it even when it hurt. I did it even when it was snowing or raining or cold or hot. I did it because I promised myself I was going to do it. So I ask you, what have you promised yourself you're going to do? We're not so far away from those New Year's resolutions. And those are the hardest because so many people make them and break them within a week. But what did you promise yourself? What did you promise yourself that you would do for yourself? And tell the truth. Are you doing it? Are you fulfilling whatever promise you made to yourself? This is a conversation with you and you. Don't lie to yourself about it. Are you doing what you promised yourself you would do? And if not, why not? Because guess what? Every day that you wake up is a day that you can recommit. You can recommit to your persistence. You can reignite your determination. You can press on, as Calvin Coolidge said. It doesn't mean it's easy. I gauge a lot of my effectiveness on how well I to remind myself that I accomplished something. Often I wake up in the middle of the night wondering, did I do that? Did I complete it? Or I forgot about this. Now I'm remembering. I don't like for that to happen to me. And so when I write things down and make a plan, here are the things that I promised myself I'm going to do. I checked off the things that I told myself I was going to do and did. I don't check the ones that I didn't complete. And at the end of the day, I review my list. And then I go, ooh, I did these things and I didn't do that. And every now and then, and right now is one of those times, there is something on my list that has been there for a couple of weeks. And I have not completed it. And I know I haven't completed it. I've kind of avoided it because it's tough. Well, we know avoidance does nothing but make us agitated. And so as I'm talking about this to you, I'm reminding myself, when this broadcast ends, I'm going to do that one thing that I've been avoiding. Now, there are probably 30 things on my list. I make long lists because I make lists with small tasks so that I can be sure that I will complete them. This one task has been on there for at least 2 weeks. I'm not avoiding it anymore. Today I'm going to do it. Because why? Calvin Coolidge says, press on. The slogan press on has solved and always will solve the problems of the human race. We are fortunate when we wake up in the morning and we are able to press on. We are able to refresh our resolve. We are able to say, yes, I can do that thing that I said I was going to do yesterday and I didn't do. I'll do it today. Why not? Calvin Coolidge says nothing in this world can take the place of persistence. Nothing. You can sit and be sad and wallow in, I didn't do this, and or somebody else didn't do something. You can blame people all day and all night. Or you can press on. Coolidge says talent will not take the place of persistence. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Bars are filled with them. Benches at the park are filled with them. People on the corner commiserating about what they wish they had done, how they could have lived their lives and didn't. You don't want to be one of those people. Genius will not. You could have been labeled the genius in your family, at your place of business, in your neighborhood. But Coolidge says unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not, he says. The world is full of educated derelicts. I want you to think about this. Think about yourself. Do a self-assessment. And I don't want you to get sad because all of us have things that we haven't done. So it's not for that purpose. I want you to think about what you have done. What can you hang your hat on and say, I did that. I was persistent and I completed it. And I feel good about my work. Tell yourself one thing where that's true. Just one. And use that as an example. Use it as an example for yourself to give you energy to tackle the things that you've been avoiding. Make a list today. This is your assignment. Make a list today of the things that you want to accomplish that are important to you. Write them down. And make a list of the things that you have been avoiding. The list is for you. You don't have to show anybody else. What have you been avoiding? It could be things for your health. It could be things for your home, for your family, for your job, for your finances, for your community, whatever they are. Write down, maybe put those categories down so that then you can examine your whole life in each of those categories. A lot of times people think when we talk about this stuff that we're only talking about work or things that are related to money. And that is not what I'm saying at all. I want us to look at our whole lives. If you look at your whole life, and as you're examining your whole life, you think about what are you promising yourself that you're going to do? Make that list. You can take the screen away. Make that list. What you're promising yourself you're going to do today. It could also be you pay attention to what you have promised yourself in the past and what do you want to carry forward. And maybe some of the things that you promised yourself, they aren't that important anymore, so you let those go. What have you promised yourself that you want to carry forward? Write those things down. And important, what have you not done well? What have you avoided? What's that stuck list? What are things that are important, but you really haven't given them the importance that they need? And then compare the lists. And today, why not pick one from each list? You could have, like for me, when I do those lists, well, my things that I have to do is probably every day is about 30 things. It's in categories, but let's say it's about 30 things. And I complete many of them because I've learned how to make a list that is manageable, even though I have that one thing that I haven't done yet, but I will do today. The list of things that I've been avoiding, there's one on there, but there's some others on there too. Look at that list, pick one from each list that you are going to work on today. And that you promise that you will be persistent in working on every day until you complete it. And if it is something that's ongoing, that doesn't have an end, some things can be a project. You work on it and then it's finished and you move on. Other things are ongoing, like exercise, like eat healthy, drink enough water, whatever those things are that you need to remind yourself of so that you can live the best life possible. If you have something like that, whether it's in your regular to-do list or the avoidance list, because some people have those basics on their avoidance list, wherever it lives, promise yourself you're going to do one thing from your solid, I got to do these things list, and one from your avoidance list today. Just today, one day at a time. Today, you will be persistent in completing whatever those things are today. And then at the end of the day, you can check them off. I worked on that thing that I've been avoiding. I feel better about myself. I completed that thing I told myself I was going to do. I feel good about myself. I've accomplished something that gives me energy. And then tomorrow, when you wake up, put them back on your list. If there are things that you want to be consistent at, keep it on the list. Persist tomorrow in doing that thing. Consider, is there something you want to add to the list that you want to be persistent about? That'll make you feel good about yourself because you have been consistent. This is what I want you to work on, to give as a gift to you. Because if you do that, your life is going to benefit. You will see that goodness flows from your effort. Goodness will flow from your effort if you put the effort in every day. So let's go over that quote one more time before our broadcast is done. All right, we're going to, Calvin Coolidge says, nothing in this world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. The slogan, press on, has solved and always will solve the problems of the human race. I want you to sit with this quote. I want you to really study it and see where you fit in. And then make the commitment to be persistent about one thing that isn't so difficult. You've already committed to doing it. And one thing that's on that list that you've been avoiding. Do it today and see what happens. I promise you, you will benefit if you give yourself the gift of making an effort. Coolidge said persistence and determination. Those are the things that will get you there. You have that. It may be a muscle you haven't been exercising recently, but you have it. So please give yourself the present of not only having it, but using it, because you are worth it. Until next time, have a great day and make it count.